Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I hope today has been treating you well. In today's video I am diving into the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. I'm going to be creating 3 different looks. This is look number 1. I'm going to be trying to create 3 completely different looks with the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. Now this isn't a first impression. I already have a full swatching first impression review video. If you want to see that, I will leave it up in the cards. But today I'm trying to create 3 completely different looks. As I'm filming this little intro clip, I've only done one. I've done this purple, smoky, glamorous sort of a look. This is the second look that I create with the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette, and then this is look number 3 with the Cosmic Brushes Neutrals palette. So if you want to see how I created those 3 looks, starting with this one, starting with the purple, glamorous, smoky, sharp wing, and just keep on watching. Okay, so look number 1 for this video, I am of course diving into the NUDETRALS palette, and I'm wanting to do something basically using all of this along the bottom row, more of the like purplier shades. I don't necessarily know which out the 2 shimmers I want to use. I actually might just swatch these because it's a while since I did that first video where I swatched all of them. So let me just swatch both of these shimmers on the bottom row. I actually think Tender might be a little bit dark. So the lighter one here is Velvet and the darker one is Tender. But then I don't know if Velvet is not necessarily purpley enough for what I want to do today. I want to go more purple and I want to use that Lust shade as like a smoky wing. So yes, I might use Velvet even though it's not that purple, but I'm hoping that like the mattes will make this quite purple. I'm also going to do that technique that I did in the Beauty Bay version of this video where I did 3 looks with the botanical palette, the new botanical palette. The first look that I did in that, I got some sellotape and taped off the shape that I wanted. I've never done it before and it turned out so well that I want to do it again because I'm wanting to do that like smoky wing, sort of a outer corner thing. So sellotape, and I learnt from my mistake last time, you don't need that much. So I'm going to get a little bit of sellotape and create the shape that I want. See, a smaller amount of tape definitely makes a difference. If you don't know, hi, I'm Millie. I absolutely don't know what I'm doing at any given moment. I am learning along just with you lot, the same at home. So I don't know all the techniques, all the tips and tricks. I don't know basically any of it. So we are learning together. I think that they are pretty much equal, hopefully. So let's get some brushes. I'm going to start with a fluffy brush and I'm going to dip into Rumour, the nudie shade, and I already have the eye base on. I actually used the P. Louise one today because I'm almost running out of my Beauty Bay one. And I have the P. Louise one, or I had it, yes, yeah. The cosmetic base in Rumour 1. Just a little bit of that tapped over the eyes. So I'm going to run Rumour through the crease. I would actually love your recommendations if you have proper cosmetic tape, not just sellotape. Is it actually worth the investment, and which ones do you recommend? Because like I say, this technique has taken over my life in the last like week and a half since I did it in that Beauty Bay video. I have just been loving it. So is it worth actually investing in proper cosmetic tape? Is it worth investing in like a more expensive one, or is like a cheap one on Amazon perfectly fine? Also, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. My hair is straight because it is about 30 degrees in here today. There was absolutely no chance that I was curling my hair for like an hour. So I did the quickest straighten. And I already feel like I don't necessarily look like myself. I don't like how I look with my hair straight. It's very flat. So anyway, that's not what this video is about. I'm taking a smaller fluffy brush and I'm dipping into Lost, which looks very, very dark there, but it is like a purpley, plummy sort of undertone. So I'm taking a very, very small amount of that. And I'm going to tap this on the outer corner. And then when I've got less on the brush, I'm going to drag it out into that wing shape. I'm keeping my eyes open whilst I do that so that I can see how it will actually look with my eyes open. So then I'm just using that big fluffy brush that I laid down that first colour with, and as I'm like blending over that, it's almost dragging that purplier tone further across the lid and making this beautiful purple gradient. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going back in with a bit more on that smaller fluffy brush just to intensify that colour and make that smoky wing that I'm after. It's not perfect. I'm trying to learn that it doesn't have to be. It's okay to be a little bit smudgy, she says, not believing in herself, but I'm trying to embrace the more smudgy look. Also, whilst I was blending, I realised that these bits of tape absolutely are not straight, so I am just going to, well, not equal, like this one's going a lot further out and this one was going quite far up, so I'm just gonna readjust slightly. It was only a really little difference, but now let's try and blend this out a little bit. Yeah, I think I've managed to fix that. I think they're looking a little bit more equal now. Didn't mention I don't ever know what I'm doing, so I'm going in with a different fluffy brush. I want to add something a bit warmer, but I don't know if Icon, that'd be too warm. I might just go in with a tiny little bit of neutral, that like warm brown, very, very tiny amount, and I might actually just stamp that like into the brush, like stamp my brush into like the corner of the palette to properly disperse that colour. Just add a little bit of warmth sort of above the crease. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So then I think I'm just going to go straight into that velvet shade. I'm just going to take that on my finger and tap that almost on like the outer half. That's a beautiful shade. It is very deep though, so I do want something a bit brighter on the inner half, so I'm just tapping over that to blend it in a little. I'm almost tapping that like over all those dark smoky colours that I've got further out, and then just a little blend with a fluffy brush. I don't want to like blend over the lid. I really, really like that colour. It's very dark and smoky, very, very glam. A lot for 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, but we move. I will go in with Satin, this one, because I love Radiant, the actual brightest one. I love this one, but it is slightly more orangey, like the shift. It's a duo multi-chrome and it does shift very dramatically to like an orange, which I love, but I think that it will be too much for this look. Or will it? Yeah, yeah. So I'm just going to take some of that Satin, which is a lot more sort of pinky neutrally, and tap that on the inner half of the lid. And just tap over like the join to mix those two shimmers together. Yeah, I love that shimmer. I mean, I love purple at the best of times, so I knew that this palette was just going to give me so much inspiration, but I actually really like that satin shade. I really like those two shimmers together. I mean, it looks messy now. I need to blend, but I'm happy so far. So I have just taken a little bit more of that Lust shade to like really intensify the outer corners. Now, if we remove this tape, she's sharp. I love. So I am just going to clean up under here, because obviously I've got chunky fingers and I can't blend those together without also getting it under my eyes. So just clean that up, and I might surprise you here. I might just leave this as just the lid and not do anything under the eyes. This never happens, ever. But I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of my face, and then we'll decide. I might just leave this as what's on the lid. I might do. I'll be back once I've done the rest of my face. Okay, so I did decide to go ahead and just put mascara on the lower lashes as well, and I'm just going to leave it as that. I'm just going to leave it as a completely bare under eye, which I literally, I never do. I don't know, I feel like the balance of my face isn't quite right, but I appreciate a lot of people will just do something on the lid, even something quite like dramatic and smoky like this, and then do nothing under the eyes. I feel like it just makes my whole face look a little bit off. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of not having anything under the eyes. So I'm just going to take a much smaller little pencil brush, and I'm going to take a bit more of that satin that we put on the lid, and I'm going to put a little bit of that right onto the inner corner, because if I'm not doing a smoky under eye, I do still need my blinding inner corner highlight. So just let me have that one, okay? Just let me have it. I might actually just take that brush and take a tiny bit of that Radiant shade. It does go quite orangey, but just a little bit. Just a really small amount. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll just blend it into the lid a little bit. Yes, I'm very happy with how that has turned out. So it is a little bit orangey on the inner corner, just a tiny bit. Let me have it. I really love that shade. So this is look number 1. So I am thrilled with how that has turned out. I've got a kink in my hair now. Why did I bother straightening it? But you see what I mean? Like, it's just flat. I feel like I definitely need some sort of texturizing spray in my hair when I do it straight. But look, number 1, we've gone purple, we've gone smoky and sharp and dramatic with the Neutrals palette. So look number 1 done, and I will see you for look number 2 tomorrow. Well, tomorrow for me. It'll be in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so look number 2, and I'm feeling yellow. I never wear yellow like clothing, but I got this like square neck vest from Matalan, and it's inspired me. I want to do yellows, and maybe like what I'm thinking is this one and do almost like a sunset eye sort of a thing. Much warmer, not dipping into this bottom row probably at all. I want to go a lot warmer and a lot more yellowy, goldy, and those shimmers are absolutely beautiful. So that's like what I'm going to be living in. I will probably also put that orangey, shifty, what was it called? Radiant. I will probably put some of that because it's probably my favourite shade out of this whole palette, Radiant. It really is beautiful. Either that or Luxe, which I used in the first look, so I'm not going to be using that. I'm going to try and not use that. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow yet. Tomorrow, look number 3, I don't know what I'm doing yet. So we're just going to make it up as we go along. Let me zoom you in and we can do something yellowy. Something more summery, yellowy. That's the vibe. So I'm taking a fluffy brush and I'm going into Icon. Going in strong. Going in strong with the mustard. I absolutely love this shade. I have gone for the Beauty Bay eye base today. I'm scraping around the outside of the tube to try and get the last bits of product out, but I just love that eye base, so I've gone for that one today. So you can see how incredibly pigmented this mustardy shade is. Granted, it's not exactly the same shade as my top, but that does not matter. I'm going for it anyway. Then I'm going to just use the same brush and I'm going to dip into Bare on the top row, which is a slightly lighter sort of transition-y shade, but still beautiful and warm, and I'm just going to blend that over the top. And then I'm just going back in with Icon, the yellow, just to really intensify that right through the crease. Honestly, I think just those 2 shimmers now, like I said, I'm going very simple today. Very sort of quick and simple. Honestly, because we've got the second wave of summer in the UK today. We had summer and then we had like the depths of winter for like a week, and now we've got second summer, and I think it's about 30 degrees outside today. No, and I've run out of plugs in my room. I need to get an extension cord. I've run out of plugs, so the Dyson fan is in here. It's over there. I don't have anywhere that I can plug it in while I've got all of my lights on. So if you notice me sweating, no you don't. You don't see it, okay? You don't see it. I need to do this quite quickly so that I can get that fan back on. Because I feel like I'm melting already and I've only been filming for 5 minutes and 1 second. Yeah, I'm struggling. So I'm just going to dip into a little bit of Chic, that lightest matte shade. And I'm just going to blend over the top. Yeah, it's a little something like that. So, do I want something a little bit deeper? Yes, let's go in with Neutral on the top row, which again is a matte. Let's find a brush that's clean. Hello? Okay, so this is stained, but it is clean. I promise, it is clean. It's just one of them things, and yeah, I'm gonna dip into Neutral and pack that on the outer corner. I don't actually know what sort of shape I want to do today. Do I ever? But I don't know if I want to do something more round, something quite sharp. No, I did sharp yesterday. Let's do something a little bit more rounded. I probably should have done my base first. Didn't think of that. Never mind. Did I mention I never know what I'm doing at any given moment? I never know what the outcome of anything. It's going to be so making it up as I go along once again. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with that, and I'm just going to take the same brush and I'm going to dip into Delicate, but just a very, very tiny, tiny amount of that, just to darken it a little bit more right on that outer corner of the lid. Don't want to take that up too high, and then we can go in with the shimmer. I mean, on an everyday basis, I do just put like something through the crease and then a shimmer across the lid. That is a very everyday sort of a vibe for me. And yeah, like I say, I've been using this one quite a bit to like get my head around it and everything, just to have a little play. And I have been using Radiant and Luxe just on an everyday basis. I really, really like the shifts in those shimmers, so that's what I've been doing every day, but I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to go in with Glitz and Desire. Yes, so let's start with Desire. Look at that. In fact, let me just swatch it. That Desire shade, can you see? It's like green and brown and gold and orange. It's such a beautiful shimmer, like truly incredible duochrome, but really smooth. It's not necessarily like Radiant where you can see those little bits of glitter in it. It is like a foil that's all the different colours. I feel like you can see it there. Oh, it's beautiful. Right, so I'm just going to take that on my finger and tap that on like the centre and outer half of the lid. And I feel like this shade as well, if you were doing something more green, like if these, instead of using the yellowy orangey tones, if you were using the greener tones, which are in this palette, it's got everything that I want. I feel like this would pull more green, because obviously it's got that green shift in there, but I feel like it's a really versatile shade, and it's almost like a cream. Like if I show you this really close up, you can see where that's like left an imprint of my finger as I've swatched it. I hope you can see that, but it really, really is beautiful. And before I blend, I am just going to put a little bit of Glitz, the more yellowy shimmer on the inner half of the lid. Yes, look at those. Like I haven't even blended those two colours together, but they're just like, they're similar enough in their undertone that they're basically just laid over the top without any sort of blending, but also they're different enough where you can see that that's like a true gold, and this is leaning a little bit more orangey, bronzy. I love it. So just a light little tickle over that top edge, and I'm not disturbing anything that's on the lid. And I'm really, really happy with how that looks. I do think I'm going to go in with some liquid liner today, because I didn't yesterday. And honestly, that is reason enough for me. So I'm going to go off and do the rest of my face, and I am going to do something under the eyes today. I am going to do a smoky under eye. I do feel like I need to clean up this outer corner just a smidge, but I'm going to go off and do the rest of my face, and then we can do something smoky and beautiful under the eyes. And then this is look number 2 done. I really, really like how this one turned out, especially considering I wanted to do like a little bit of an everyday look. I mean, this is everyday for me, but that is besides the point. And do the rest of my face, and then we can finish it up together. Okay, so just a little bit of brow gel through the brows to get rid of the foundation-y looking brows. And let's go back in with the eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to dip into the yellow matte, and I'm going to sort of round out the outer corner. Obviously I've done away. It's not actually black, it's the Made by Mitchell graphic liner in brownie points. So it is a brown, but it's a very, very dark brown, and I just thought that that would go a little bit better. But just using a very, very small amount of this yellow right along the lower lash line and joining it up with the outer corner, like I say, just to round it off a little bit. I did clean up with a little bit of micellar water on a cotton pad, just to, you know, clean it up a little bit. So I want to like make it a little bit more round again with that yellow shade, and I will just use this same brush and I'll dip into Neutral, that one, and just tap that on the outer corner again, just to deepen it up a little bit. I'm resisting the urge to put that Radiant shade on the inner corner. I really, really have been loving that shade as an inner corner, and I know that it leans very orange. I love it. I love that it gives that little pop of orange. Do I want that for a second look? Because I already did that for the first one. I mean, I could put it across the lid. No, I have to make it look different. It's the whole point of this video. So I'm just going to put a little bit of mascara on the lower lashes. I'm using the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. Oh, just noticed I've got a really long cat hair stuck to my nose. Who'd have thought it? I did have to just wrestle her out of the room. So there's that. I'm happy with that. Now, I did put some highlight on my face. It's the Revolution Beam Bright highlighter, so I might just put a little bit of that on the inner corner again, just to make it a little bit different, but also it's me and I always need that bright inner corner. And actually I really like using whatever highlight I've used on the face. I like putting on the eyes as well. I feel like it ties everything together really nicely. So just tap a little bit of that on the inner corner, and then that is look number 2. Let me take these clips out. I did a little updoey in a clip thing. So this is look number 2, completely done. I would love to know what you think of this one as well as the first one. And honestly, looking at this palette, I don't know what I'm going to do for look number 3. I'm thinking maybe something a bit bridal. Like, honestly, I look at this and that whole top section, I could create a sort of bridal-y look. But also I did film, and you may have already seen, like a summer bronzy look that's like a wedding guest bridal look. So I don't know, but definitely something with those top 2 rows, because I feel like I've done purple, I've done like the yellowy orangey. We need to do something more like just a brown smoky eye. Basic, because that's who I am. So I will see you in a little while for look number 3. Okay, so look number 3 with the Neutrals palette, and I will let you in on a little secret. It's definitely already past my bedtime, so I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy. Okay, I mean, as I say past my bed, I mean it is past my bedtime, but it's not that late. It's 8:58 in the evening, but I've had a full day at work. It was a whole thing. I'm home now. And I promised myself that I would sit down and film this like before the sun went down. So if the lighting looks different, it's because the sun is no longer helping me on this side. But anyway, into the palette. Let's not ramble on again. I want to do something a little bit more neutral brown smoky eye, and I don't actually know which shimmer I want to use. It will either be Satin or Glamorous. I've already used Desire and I've already used Radiant. So Satin is a little bit more pinky and Glamorous is a little bit more browny. So let's just swatch both of these and see which shimmer I want to go for today. So Satin and Glamorous. Yeah, Satin is definitely more pinky toned and Glamorous is definitely more warm. I mean, we could potentially use both of those. They're both just like a foily, shimmery, glittery finish. Could absolutely just use both. Shall I do that? Need to wipe my hand. I mean, I'm still in my work clothes. That is the day I've been having. So let me zoom you in and we can do a warm brown smoky eye. That's all I mentally have in me. Okay, so that's what we're doing. I will start with a fluffy brush and I will go into Bare on the top row. You could either use Bare or you could use Touch. I feel like Touch is probably a little bit too deep for like a transition-y through the crease thing for me. So I'll start with Bare on that fluffy brush, and I've already got my Beauty Bay eye base on, of course, and I have already done the rest of my face as well, just for speed. Because like I say, I'm wanting to get into my bed, so I just wanted to get something on quite quickly. Okay, so that Bare shade, just right through the crease, very, very quick, very, very simple. We love. Then I will take a much smaller but still very fluffy brush and I'll dip into Neutral, which has actually been a staple like matte shade for me for like deepening up on the outer corner. It is a deeper brown shade for my skin tone. Obviously for some skin tones this would be like the most perfect like transition-y tone, various different ways that you could use it depending on your skin tone, but for me to deepen up on the outer corner but it not be too deep where it looks too dark or smoky, this brush is heading like crazy, but that shade is perfect for an outer corner sort of a thing. So just tapping that on and blending it in with that first shade that we put down. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade. And one thing that I am finding with this formula, and as I've been doing this 3 looks with video, and as I have been obviously playing with the palette more, with it being out on my table and just on an everyday basis, the mattes are so easy to use. Like you can use a very small amount and they just blend with no effort. They're so, I don't want to say creamy because I feel like everybody says that, but they're so easy to blend. They really are a absolutely beautiful, beautiful formula. And if you don't know, I really don't have a lot of patience. I mean, even when it's not past my bedtime, I don't have a lot of patience or a lot of skill. So for an eyeshadow formula to just work, to just do what it's got to do, that's all I can ask for. So I'm just going to use this same brush and I'm going to dip into Classy, because I could use Classy or I could use Delicate, but I feel like Delicate is more almost like green, like it looks a bit more cool toned, whereas Classy, this one, looks a little bit warmer, and I feel like that is more the vibe I'm going for. So I'm just taking a very small amount of that just to deepen a little bit further on the outer corner. And honestly, I might not even do a wing today. that is the vibe that I'm going for. I might just sort of do a smoky wing with that dark brown shade, but nothing precise. Blending and smoking it all out rather than having anything that's too like structured. Yes, so I've just used a sort of very dense liner brush just to create a little, I mean it's not that little, is it? But to create that like sharper but still quite smoky wing, and with it being like the same colour as that outer corner, it does just all sort of blend in together, which I really, really like. So, shall we go for Glamorous, that slightly more golden shade, and then Satin, the pinkier, lighter one, as the inner corner? Yes, let's. But I do just want to put a little bit of that classy shade, or a little bit more of that classy shade rather, under the eye. Really smoke it out. Again, you know me, a bright inner corner and a smoky under eye. Who is she? Yes, happy with that. So if you wanted to just have a completely matte eye look as a little extra one, you could absolutely do that. And honestly, any of the shimmers over the top of this, like this with Luxe over the top, that one that's the multi-chrome, that would look incredible. I also would absolutely use Radiant, that white to orange shift, but let's go in with Glamorous, that more goldeny shade. And if I get really close, I'm just going to tap this basically across the whole lid. I'm not being shy, just tapping that all over. And almost like as I'm pressing it in, that's almost like turning into a foil. That's a really, really pretty shade. I was thinking earlier, because I always am, I'm always thinking, despite what it looks like, I genuinely think I would use this palette for my wedding day makeup. If you haven't seen my channel before, and I can't remember if I've already said this, I may have already spoken about this, but I do a series every year when it's my wedding anniversary in September, and I do what makeup I would use, what products I would use, what makeup look I would do if I was getting married this year, and like recreate my wedding makeup, because I did my own makeup for my wedding day. And I think that like this is basically what I would do. This look. So it is like a little bit bridal-y, a little bit glam, but also like the formula of these shadows, it just makes it so easy. Like they're so easy to use and they're so beautifully reflective that it's just easy. So I'm taking a big flat brush and I'm dipping into that satin shade, which yes, it would work better applying this with your finger, but my nails are too long and I can't get into that inner corner without poking my eye out. So I'm just going to try my best with a brush with that lighter shade and more pink shade on the inner corner, and also I'm like taking it onto the lid and also sort of through the crease, the inner part of the crease, to like blend that in. That's a beautiful shade as well. It's like a nude shimmer, obviously for my sort of skin tone. I do feel like I just want a little bit more of that, so I'm just going to try and use my finger. This is where it all goes wrong. I have quite a bit of fallout now, but that is on me. Like, my fingers are too fat and the brush was not working, so I just had to try something. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a lot of mascara, but this is look number 3. It is bridal. It is like soft glam, but sort of bridal leaning. It's like a brown smoky eye, very, very neutral glam. I really, really like those shimmers together though. I wasn't necessarily expecting both of those shimmers to work so well in one look, but I really, really like how that's turned out. So I'm going to find some mascara. I will just use this Essence one because it's on my table, and then we'll be done. Okay, so look number 3 is done. This definitely feels bridal to me. Does this feel bridal to you as well? It definitely was not my intention at the start of this video, or at the start of this today's little clip. Definitely was not my intention to do anything quite as formal as this, but look number 3. Those glitters work beautifully together. The shimmers, I am such a huge fan. And I mentioned this is the second like version of 3 looks with that I have done, and I did one for Botanical, the new Beauty Bay eyeshadow palette. I did 3 looks with that, so if you want to see that, it's already up. And I mentioned in that one that I just felt really inspired and like I could do a whole other 3 different looks, and I feel like I definitely could with this as well. Like I haven't even done a look that I 100% will do, which is just a block colour all over the lid with that mustard, because I love that mustard shade. That as like a block colour with a big wing, and I know you don't need to be shown how to do that, but I feel like those sort of tones just go so well and just work so well that that's absolutely a look that I could do. You could also do that with the greens, like one block colour, and I feel like this palette has so many that you could do that with. One block colour all over the lid and just call it a day. You don't have to do anything complicated. You could also just put one shimmer all over the lid and call it a day. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate it. The formulas are so fantastic. The colour story is just absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I just find it very, very inspiring to look at, especially that Luxe shade and that Radiant shade. Like, they are beautiful. But let me zoom you out, you don't need to be quite so close while we just chat now. But I will be doing 3 looks with Cool Trolls, and then I will be doing a ranking video going through all of my Cosmic Brushes palettes and deciding which out of all of them is my favourite. Could be this one. Could be this one. I just, honestly, just looking at it just brings me so much joy, because these are the tones that I love. I love a green, and I love a yellow, and I love a warm undertone. I just feel like it really suits my skin tone and my eye colour and everything. That is like my comfort colour story, and this whole palette just encapsulates all of that. So if you want to see those videos, subscribe, because they will be coming incredibly soon. I will be doing those. I mean, I'll be starting the 3 looks with Cool Trolls. I'll be filming that tomorrow. You'll probably see it at some point next week. Obviously, it takes me 3 days to film. It's not just a quick process. It does take up 3 like chunks of time, but I feel like they are very useful. So if you want to see 3 looks with Cool Trolls, that will be coming very soon. I will also be doing that ranking video, and I realised as well that at some point I said that I was going to do 1 look with neutrals and Cool Trolls all in one, so I will be doing that at some point as well. Like, there's just so many videos that I want to film with these palettes because they're beautiful and they fill my heart with joy. So if you want to see any of those, subscribe. They will be coming incredibly soon. But if you haven't already, I would love it if you would give this video a big thumbs up. It really just helped me out ever so much when you press that like button, especially if you press it at the start of the video. I know I'm mentioning this to you right at the end, but if in future you press that like button at the start of the video, that helps me a ton. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.